Have you ever met a guy that seemed like he was too good to be true, and then it turned out he actually was? Well, let's flip the script today and look at the exact qualities. What are the most important things that you want to look for that lets you know that he's not just a good guy, but this guy is a keeper. This guy is going to make an amazing partner for you. The first quality that you want to look for is a man who has integrity. In other words, he keeps his word. In fact, the Gottman Institute has done years, decades of research on relationships, and they wrote an entire book on one subject, making love last. That whole book, Making Love Last, is built on trust. It was all about the science of trust and how you create trust, because trust is the foundation of great relationships. If you don't have trust, then your body goes into fight or flight. You never know what to expect. You're constantly on edge. The number one way to build trust is by making and keeping agreements. If he says he's going to call at 7, and then he actually calls. He says he's going to be home at a certain time, and then he does. He says he's going to let you know what's going on this weekend, and then he does. He thinks about, oh, you might need to know what kind of clothes to wear if we're going to be in an outdoor restaurant, or what kind of shoes to wear if we're going to go on this date, and he's got a hike planned for you and you show up in wedges and not hiking shoes. The guy who says he's going to do something and then follows through, that's the guy who builds trust. And that is foundational for a relationship. Sometimes we look over those things until we get into a relationship with somebody who doesn't have a good relationship with their word, and instead has a great relationship with drama, a great relationship with excuses for why they didn't follow through, a great relationship for being the victim and why it's always somebody else's fault that they're late, or the traffic's fault, or their boss's fault, or some other reason. When we've experienced that kind of person, the value that we place on, someone who actually follows through, goes way up. In a long-term relationship, it matters. So pay attention to those little things. When he says he's going to do something, even if it's small, and he does it, because those little things lead to big things, and it can be a great sign that this guy's got the potential to be a great partner. The second quality you want to look for is the man's ability to turn conflict into closeness. Now, what this means is that when there's conflict, when there's an argument, when there's a fight, like one of you don't follow through on something that you say you're going to do, or you have differing opinions, or he feels criticized, or you feel criticized, and there's some friction, does he have the emotional maturity to lean in and turn towards that relationship versus turn away? The person who turns away is going to give you silent treatment. They might shame you. They might try to guilt you. They might try to just play the victim. But here's what's amazing about conflict. Inside of every conflict is the blueprint for greater closeness. It's an opportunity for us to know each other better, to know what our needs and our wants and our fears and our desires are even more. I remember right before I moved down to California to explore deepening my relationship with my wife. At that time, we were boyfriend, girlfriend. And I'm talking to her about moving down. And she says this, she was like, well, don't think that you're going to see me every day if you just move down here. Now I'm moving 1,000 miles to be closer to her. And she's like, don't think you're going to see me every day. And I'm like, well, I've got my own life and I've got a job, business I'm running. And she was like, I just don't want you to think that we're going to be hanging out all the time. And in that moment, I felt myself get defensive. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Why would I even be moving down if we weren't going to see each other more than we're seeing each other now, like once every 2 months? There was a moment of conflict that we had. And then eventually we both kind of took a deep breath and we said, wait a minute, what's the deeper thing going on here? And my wife had an opportunity to open up about some fears that she had, that she wasn't ready to get married right then and there, and that she wanted a little bit of time to get to know one another. And she was worried that I was going to move down there and then like a month later propose to her. And that conflict had within it the seed of an opportunity for us to feel even closer, for us to get to know each other even more. And I heard her fears and she shared what was going on. And at the end of that conversation, we actually felt closer because of the conflict than we had before. And eventually I moved down, we dated for 2 years, and then the proposal happened and she was happy at that point when that proposal came her way. So can your man disagree with you without becoming disrespectful? Does your man weaponize silence or weaponize your vulnerabilities and punish you with passive aggressive behavior? Or is he not afraid of having hard conversations? Does he make space for that? Does he turn towards you when there's friction? And he ultimately helps the two of you come closer together. That's the guy who's a keeper. Third thing that you're looking for is a guy who helps you feel more like yourself, not less. You're not looking for the guy who wants to change you or put you down or nag you or say that you're not the right size, not the right weight, any of that stuff. That guy, toss that guy to the side. You're looking for the guy who loves you for who you are, the guy who props you up, who celebrates you. And how do you know? You're with that guy when your body feels relaxed in his presence, when you feel like you can be real, when you feel at ease when you're around him. Again, the wrong guy is the guy who you feel like you've got to edit what you say just to keep the peace. You feel like you got to walk on eggshells, otherwise you're going to trigger him in some particular way. No, you want to be able to be that goofy, fun, open, natural version of yourself. That guy is the guy who's demonstrating love, because love is not about performing to some criteria. Love is about permission to really be fully who you are. And so notice how you're being when you're around him. Are you laughing more? Are you breathing easier? Do you feel safer to be you? So notice if you can give him the full ugly cry, that ooh, if you can snort laugh, if you can dance goofy and crazy, and he still looks at you and says, you are beautiful. Girl, this man you want to keep. Fourth quality you want to pay attention to is generosity. Is he living from a place of generosity? Is he living from a place of giving? Is he living from a place of overflow? Or is he living from a place of scarcity? Is he living from the mindset that there's never enough? I know a couple who made a ton of money. The biggest fight they ever had back in the days when you had needed a CD. Remember those days? Like you had to actually have a CD. He wanted 2 CDs of the same artist, the same album. He wanted one for the house, one for the car, so he could listen to the music in either spot. And she just thought that was egregious. She just thought that was like crazy. Because in this example, she was the one coming from scarcity. They had different mindsets. Does your man come from this place of generosity? He wants to share. He wants to give. And not just generosity of money, but is he willing to give his energy, his time, his focus to the things that matter to him, to other people? Studies show that generous partners are more committed and more satisfied in relationship. The wrong kind of guy is the guy who's keeping score. I did the dishes last night. It's your night to do the dishes tonight. Like when you don't even have that agreement, right? He's a scorekeeper. Hey, I've called you 3 times. You need to call me 3 times. It's like tit for tat. Instead, generous guys, they're going to give, knowing that you can't outgive spirit. You can't outgive this universe. As you give, it's going to come back to you in a beautiful way. And ultimately, the guy who's the giver is giving because inside the giving is the joy. It's joy to see you happy. He notices what you like. He surprises you with it. Not because you asked for it, but because he's been paying attention. Like he wants to serve you. He's willing to pour into you with big favors, whether it's that early morning airport ride or whether it's moving day and he's going to help you move, those types of things. Your man is generous with his time, generous with his energy. Those kinds of qualities, you want to move right to the top. Here's the thing. He's giving because ultimately he knows that giving brings him joy. He notices what you like and then he surprises you with it. He's the guy who will share a bite of his food when you ask for it. He's going to share that little chocolate piece at the bottom of the ice cream cone, those little like drumstick. He's going to give you the last bit of the cone, knowing there's a little chocolate bit in there because he knows you like it. That is a man that says husband material. And the 5th quality that you want to look for and prioritize in terms of is this guy a keeper is he is genuinely kind. Kindness and generosity go hand in hand. And so if he's a generous guy, there's chances are he's going to be kind. And so you want to look at this idea that how you do anything is how you do everything. And so if you notice early when you're dating that he's kind to the waitress, or he's kind to the Uber driver, or he's kind to the bartender, things like that, that kind of kindness in those small moments are a reflection of his way of being in the larger moments. Does he speak about his mom with a kind tone, with a respectful tone, with a tone that shows appreciation for her? Does he speak about his parents? Even if those relationships are strained, does he have this sort of overarching kindness in the tone of how he's talking about people who matter to him? And so we can look at these kind moments, these little moments when nobody's watching, to give indication of his level of kindness. Another great way to notice whether or not he's kind is when no one's watching. So if he's driving and someone cuts him off, what is his response to that person? And if someone's actually rude to him, does he respond in kind with rudeness back and talk crap back? Or does he hold the high line and just treat everybody with respect, even if somebody is being a little bit rude or a little bit short? Now, I'm not talking about over the line where he has to defend himself. Does he engage and reciprocate with that rude, critical behavior, or does he choose to rise above it and just let it be and move on? The guy who demonstrates kindness is demonstrating a beautiful quality that will ultimately help create a great relationship. And here's what's cool. At the end of the day, men reveal themselves through their actions, their energy, how they're showing up in the world. And you can feel it. You can notice these things. And so when you spot these signs, don't doubt it. Lean in, prioritize them, because these signs are leading you to ultimately somebody that might just be your long-term match. And so my question for you is, what are the signs that you have looked for? Maybe you're in a long-term relationship. Maybe you're married. What are the things that you saw in your man that let you know, yeah, this is a keeper? Go ahead and post that in the comment section below. Here's to your amazing love life. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.